this coffee break, the seasons are the subjects, and the subject for this season 1 is the end times, or the end. However, when I speak in reference to the end, I'm talking about for the earth and its history, the one we're on now. After this earth has been foretold completely in reference to all things pertaining to it, then there is the new earth, the new heaven, and the new Jerusalem. There's not so much information except chapter 22 of Revelation. It tells you how it looks. But on this particular earth we're on now, the sea will still be there. The temple will be here. However, the configuration will be changed in reference to the day of the Lord. So season 1 starts with the day of the Lord to the last judgment of those who are in the pit, and any information pertaining to the earth after that from any scriptures in the Bible. Then we'll go into the little knowledge we have in reference to the new heaven, the new earth, and New Jerusalem. So far it seems to be one chapter, chapter 22 of Revelation. And there might be mention of making the new heaven, the new earth, and the new heaven, the new Jerusalem. Now in that scenario, we will talk about those things mentioned about, and that would be season 2, very short subject. However, season 1 is a long subject because it's talking about a whole 1,000-year period to make the enemies of Christ, because it's going to be his domain, his dominion, his footstool. Now, the Father told Christ, sit there on my right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. And the way he's going to do it is the things going to happen in the book of Revelation. Revelation, in my opinion, account for 1,000 years and the things that are going to happen to make this earth a footstool for Christ to rest his feet on, because he will be ruling this earth for 1,000 years. So when he come here, most of the things that deal with his rulership is established, and he will set up his administration. So season 2 will be a short one, and then season 3 we might go back to the war in heaven. Now the war in heaven started before mankind was created, but we're not going to get into season 3. But that's what it's going to be about, the war in heaven, and about the angels that fell from heaven and Satan, and all pertaineth to Satan and his angels. Now they end up in season 1 because they're going to be in the war, and the war were there in the angels that fell from heaven. Because of the first war they had in heaven, they fell, cast out. Now this war between Christ coming back to coming here the second time, but not in the same mission. They don't have the same mission. It's a different mission. And when he comes the second time, he comes to take over the earth for 1,000 years, plus any other additional time the Father will give him. And those angels will end when Christ comes back and he take over the earth. Those angels will be in the lake of fire brimstone. But Satan will be in the pit, and his judgment will be after a period that deals with the deal with Gog and Magog, and that's going to be after the 1,000 years. Now, the reason I say that Gog and Magog will be after 1,000 years because Satan in the book of Revelation, chapter 20, Satan goes into the pit. He stayed in the pit the whole 1,000 years. Then he come out and goes to the four corners of the world to get Gog and Magog to rebel. And this is exactly what happened. Then they come up on the face of the earth to battle. So they're not going to be until after the 1,000-year period. Gog and Magog come. These will be nations who really didn't participate in Christ's regime. Christ was still ruling everything, but these would be like undercover people who was pretending to do it, in other words. Or nations that were not in the coalitions that Christ was set up. I don't know exactly how to phrase it, but they was prophesied about that they will come up and they will say, we're going to get these cities that don't have no fences, and we're going to get their property and their treasures and their gold and everything. And this is how they're going to start. But yet they are such a large group, and they're from all four corners of the world. So Gog and Magog is included in the first season. So, and then we're going to the other season. I'm going to talk about prophets only, and then I'm going to talk about territory only, and then I'm going to talk about different things that happen with the Father, what he said. So we're going to be on the season pertaining to subjects. They are season 1 pertaining to the end time. And we'll make mention of it from now on. I will try to put the season name by the season. If anything changes, it still will be something by a certain season. But I want to, as best as I can, get the information pertaining to the end. Because so many people don't know what that is. Many people have an idea that the world will end and catch on fire, and that Christ came to snatch them off the world so that it would not be burnt by the fire. The resurrection is temporal in reference to catching them up in the sky. After Christ secures the earth, they coming back down and stay here for 1,000 years. They're immortal. They be here for 1,000 years after that. So that the war itself don't last as long as some people think it. It lasts only that it takes the time to take over this world, and then Christ will go after all the nations to either or fight against them because they fought against Christ, or to establish them by the new laws. So it's going to be plain and clear in reference to what happened. Now, a lot of scripture is going to be there to support everything I say. So this is why subjects in the episode is included, so that when we talk about the subject, we on episode 5 next, and we on episode 4. We're already up and running. So this is some things about coffee break subject and the name of the episode. So we call it shorthand season 1, and this season 1 will be in reference to the end times, and season 2 will be representative of whatever we state. You know, it could change as far as the next season. We'll see how things go, because sometimes it's good to show some things ahead of the other seasons, so when the other seasons come, it might help to understand the other seasons sometimes.